All right. Let's go back to screen share. Let's just assume that you've downloaded, gotten your Epic account going, and you've got 4.24 running. So this is what they call a third-person shoot. This is called a third person. Let's just play just for a second, and this will probably lag a little bit, but you can kind of see what's going on here. If you've done 3D Studio Max, you'll be all right. But the idea is that yeah, my internet is unstable because it doesn't like that much motion. Okay. So I'll tell you what the idea is that I'm going to take this platform, I'm going to move it over about probably a good 100 meters, and you're going to find a way to make it a pain in the neck for me to get over there using basic blocks, you know, stairways, whatever. And then we'll just have some interesting stuff on the other side. Says, hey, guess what? You were pretty cool. You got out of this horrible trap. So just a quick tour around the Unreal Engine. Yeah, basically, totally. I mean, the functions of this are this. On one hand, I think that I was talking a little bit like, I think at one time we were talking a little bit more like, you know, exploring the history of video games a little bit more. Basically, the thing is that I was honestly having trouble getting a template for you, you know, for that you could just modify. And I think it's just easier for us to get to understand the basics of a 3D engine than to just really mess around with what is probably going to be just a lot more technical. You know, this is basically say, hey, by the way, this is the introduction to 3D 3D engines and Unreal 4, and you know, let's just make a simple challenge in 2 weeks. I don't think that's too unreasonable. So that's kind of where we're at. I think the one thing that's a little bit of a challenge is saying, oh, by the way, here's Unreal 4, which is about like flying an A380. And it's almost like me throwing After Effects at you and say, oh, by the way, make a music video and walk off. I don't want to do that to you. So it's kind of like that. So anyway, by the way, parkour is one of my favorite things to watch. So what I'm doing now is I'll just show you a few things. So this is your basic 3D space. I'm using a PC at the moment because I develop on a PC. So, and also it's really good if you use a mouse because left button rotates, center button slides, right button rotates. It's really kind of nice to work with if you've got a mouse. Also, the other thing, this thing goes right up if you've got if you have an HTC Vive. There's actually an editor in HTC Vive. The biggest problem that we're going to find here is that the project files get really huge really fast, and you're going to have to like if you're working on a Mac, you're going to have to send me some captures, you're gonna have to send me a walkthrough on QuickTime. Because what happens is that project files get up to 20 gigabytes really fast. So some quick things. This is the content browser. This is where kind of like all your assets are. To the left here are basic components. It's sort of like the build panel on 3D Studio Max. You can also import FBX files. You know what? If some of you are like really going wild and have some 3D Studio stuff that you want to import into this, you can. You just export it as an FBX, honestly. Deleting something is as easy as selecting, deleting it. And you notice there's still a black spot there. We'll talk about that. And I'm going to get this piece out. Okay. Anyway, and also gonna get this. Nope. Wrong one. Yeah, I'll just delete that. Text render actor. Okay. Thank you. All right. So up here, you have basically, if you recognize from 3D Studio Max, you have the widget. You can move it like that. This also defines, that little white dot defines your center of rotation, which it's a little harder to deal with here than in 3D Studio Max. Also rotation, same thing. Should look very familiar to you. Scale, same thing. However, over here, these are sort of like the snap, like rotate, snap to 15 degrees, snap to 10 units, all of this. Camera speed. I never really use that much. Okay, set scaling options. Okay, anyway. So there's one thing here that's a little bit different, is that you can save everything, save all. Source control, I never use that. Content, that opens this. Marketplace, we're going to talk about this because I'm going to let you use it. Because there's a ton of free content. So I'm going to be a nice guy. You can use whatever free content you want. And actually, to tell you the truth, if you want to pay for it, that's not my responsibility. So project settings, world settings, we're not going to need to worry about that so much. Blueprints, this has to do with code. I'll just show you. There's no code in here. So let's see here. Wait a second. There might be some code in here. Okay, so this is the level map. Okay, anyway, blueprints. So basically, instead of pieces of code, you have these little blocks that you can make other things. Don't worry about that. We will probably do a little bit of that in making some things move. But I'm going to show you basically hopefully within about 20 minutes, the general idea of what I'm looking at. Let's get rid of that. I might show a couple scripts, like things like how to die. The thing and how to put things in motion. This idea of build. So, Unreal Engine is a real-time renderer. How does it get its speed? It mainly pre-renders a lot of its textures and all that sort of thing. So what you wind up doing is I like to pretty much build everything. But in this case, I'll just build lighting only. And it'll usually take a couple minutes. And you'll see down here underneath the chat, that shows that the lighting is there. And see, notice that the places that were originally shaded by the that were originally shaded are now no longer shaded. So we'll talk about these things here after break, but I'll tell you what the general idea is here. I think you hold down Command to grab and duplicate. On a PC, it is Alt. Okay, guess what? Give me a few challenges, get from here to there. Okay, how do we do that? We're gonna make this about as interesting as possible, but first, let me show you the marketplace. Marketplace is a magical place where you have all sorts of free assets. This is basically what amounts to the 3D version of grabbing images off of Google, which I'm going to totally allow. In this case, you are a level designer. You are not an architect. And that's fine with me. Let me see here. Let me open up. Because basically, as far as I'm concerned, we got a project, we got to get it done. So I'm going to go into the marketplace. and free. All kinds of stuff, actually. Don't get too crazy. This is one way that is really, this is a really easy place to get lost in the, get really high in the weeds. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really hard. It's really easy to let yourself get lost in this, you know? Let's see here. Free Epic Games content. Don't worry about you should be able to see this. Hang on. All right. Okay. So I've gone over here into the marketplace. There's all this free stuff you can get. Epic Games content, mega scans, free for the month, permanently free, marketplace collection, just all kinds of stuff. Don't let yourself get don't let yourself get too high into the weeds with this, because of the fact that you really sure can. Epic Games has basically given you access to all its assets. Which is pretty cool. But it also means that there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can get lost into. So I'm just gonna, as they say on the net, leave this here. Oh, this is not free. And I'll just show you how this works. And then if I reopened our level, I could actually, let me take a look here in the library. Let's see, Edith Finch. Add the project. Well, I have chibi characters. I have a bunch of stuff here. Anyway, let's let you dig into that a little bit. And in general, really what my criteria for this is for you to make kind of a, really it's just primarily to make a challenge from going one platform to another. I'll bring this up and I'm going to make one just for a moment. And I'll make sure that you see it. And so we're just going to go over from here to here to here. All I'm going to do is that I'm just going to make a couple spiral staircases and just make it so that I can hop from square to square. I'm going to go over here to geometry. I'm going to make a spiral staircase. You make things by dragging them out. And I'm going to rotate this so that the end of my spiral staircase is going to match up with the outside. And the other thing is I'm going to give it a couple. I'm going to make a couple of them. I'm going to hold down my Alt key. And there we go. Okay. And I'll just show you what this is like. I'll show you how to put textures on in just a minute. And actually, you know, one of the fun pains of this is that you can okay. All right. Just to show you kind of what the idea is that if you fall off, you fall forever. Okay, and then you have to stop, restart. So, okay. In short, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just modify this just a tiny bit, just so that I don't have to make him jump to get onto this next one. I'm going to click it, click on the transform. Okay. So I don't, let's see here. Can you group things? I think you can, but I usually don't do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, click on that, do an Alt. I'm just going to drag it over there. And like 3D Studio Max, Control instead of Shift does multiple selections. So I'm just going to grab the widget here, pull it over there. And we have a little problem, of course, because this, I guess I could. Try to mirror it. But I'm going to do something else. What I'm going to wind up doing is I'm going to wind up putting another box here. And by the way, with these things, these have to do with the renderer and that sort of thing. And technically what you ought to do is just so that the engine knows what to do with it more. You should just stretch it out to go over the whole piece. But what I'm going to do at the moment, I'm just going to pull out a few boxes. And I'm just going to make this real easy, like, so the other thing is geometry, you can do strange things like, volumes, you can do things like, geometry, you can do things like, put things inside of other things and then make that a negative value and then turn that into a whole. I'm not going to do that right now. So, okay. Let's go forward. And I feel just slightly guilty for just basically throwing you guys into a major game engine in 10 seconds. But this is really the thing that I know. And I can basically help you out on anything you need. And this is actually a simple enough application that it isn't going to completely destroy your processor. And that's really kind of the point. All right. Now, see, if I wanted to change that a little bit because I think it's a little bit off axis. Because the snap, I could just turn the snap off. And then that means I can move it fluidly in whichever way I want. And okay, so this is fairly close. Now, all right, Professor, what are you going to do? I'm going to take about the basic idea is how to get from there to here, here to there. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to basically talk about maybe moving some of the, having some of the elements moving, or you having some sort of hazard or something after holidays. And I said, this is the simplest version of this. So I'm also going to use control. Oops. Just like these four, I'm going to do my usual trick of what I call radical multiplication. I'll control click these two. It's what I call geometry like bunnies. All right, let's shift over here. We're getting close, but we're not there yet. Okay. And then let's make something interesting. Let's put a linear stair. And take another one of these little boxes. Move it there. And I'm actually going to take one of these little linear boxes and just kind of make it bigger. Actually, I didn't do that. I made it smaller. Make it flat. And oh, and by the way, I'm just gonna, let's see here. I'm also going to just make this so that I can sort of guarantee myself winning. And I hit Windows instead of Alt. Okay, so all that should be in good place. Content, I'm going to just take some of the starter content. And I'm just going to do something dorky. Let's see here. Nope, I don't want any of that. Yep. I know exactly what I want to do. I just want to put a little sofa, a little chair. That's my little reward. And then I'll just show one thing about prefabricated materials. Content, starter content. It says materials. And, you know, I can make these. I'll give this a basic floor. I'll give this a asset platform. And then I'll just give this. And of course, I have to control to do this. And I'm just going to choose all of these blocks. Out to here. And turn them into sandstone. I mean, I could have some fun. I could say that's marble, that's sandstone, that's Cybertronic, all that. Anyway, let's see what we have, all right? So this is kind of the most basic sort of thing. Next week, I'm going to talk about how we can make these things move or dance or whatever. And okay. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll just talk about how to put additional assets in your project. Now, thing is like the whole, of course, the whole idea. Oh, okay, well, these are supposed to be far enough that you're supposed to fall and die, okay? But you get the idea. And then, yeah, okay. There's supposed to be a challenge here, all right? This needs to be threatening and life-threatening and thrilling. And then guess what? I'm here with my mocktail and I'm fine. Everything's good. But that is the basic idea. What I'm going to do is to show you one more thing before we get done. I'm going to save this. And I'm going to quit. Okay. So, all right. So I'm going to go back here to the Epic Games thing. And you're not going to be able to see this right now. So I'm just going to try to pick up a couple things that let's see. Oh, actually, you should see. Actually, you should see this. I'm going to share this out. Let's go over here. And I think I called that my project 5. Okay. It's like this, and then actually, let me just go over to, let me just start up the engine. And I know you can't see this. Library, Unreal Engine. It's going to take a second for the next window to come up. Okay, and then I'll share that. One thing that's a little bit annoying about Unreal, it's a fantastic engine, but the thing is that it sometimes its interface just changes sometimes very radically. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm just trying to add a few things. Let's see here, industry props. Put that into my project. And then put Infinity Blade demo into my project 5. I'll just check my downloads. Okay, that'll take a couple minutes. And that's irritating. Okay. I'll take Infinity Blade Temple and I'm going to put on to add to a project. Let's see here. Infinity Blade. I'll do Infinity Blade Village. Okay. All right. Anyway, it goes. I'll just start the engine back up again. Okay. I'm just wondering whether I didn't Didn't save that. Anyway. Okay. I'll just bring it over. Wait till it comes up. And honestly, what happens, I'll just rebuild those blocks. I'll just rebuild this. It'll take me probably about maybe 3 minutes. You get used enough to this engine. Basically build anything in about 10 seconds. Okay. So I'll just Alt, Control, select both of these. Scroll out. Alt these over, rotate. Make a box. And just do what we did before. And Control. All right. Let's see here. I see a couple more things. Get to the point where we can actually get something done. I'll just I'll make this one bigger so I don't have to jump. Okay. So now let's just go back up here into content, see if that I've got some interesting stuff in here. Yeah, I do actually. I have. I have environment pack 2, which means I could. Whoa, that's big. Oh, watch yourself on that one. Okay. That can get interesting. Okay. I hope this arc ship isn't that huge. Yeah, it sort of is that big. Okay, that's when we need to scale this sucker down. Okay, that's just basically how you can get extra stuff from the That's how you can get some extra stuff from the marketplace, bring it in there, make things look interesting. As I said, only thing is that you're probably going to have to give me documentation through video because of the fact that your project files will probably turn out to be about 20 to 40 gigs. And by the way, in your actual project, I want you to be able to follow through these things. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. Well, guess what? That didn't work out so well, but all right. You get the idea. And that arc ship is way too far up in the air. So I need to bring it down. And then let's just rebuild the lighting just for a moment. But yeah, I was going to do a side shooter and all that sort of thing, but I just said, no time. Let's just go do something simple in the engine I know how to run. I'm a VR builder. So and okay. Let's just cut out of the escape and just see what's going on here over here. So I'll send you a bunch of tutorials. You shouldn't need to panic much. Basically just the idea is that I just want you to have something that has a challenge, goes from one point to another, has some threats, and we'll kind of go over how to build some of those over the weekend. Basically, I just want you to make your basic level. And that's really your assignment for Overbreak. Learn Unreal enough to make your basic level. And that's kind of this. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to stop here.